Hey everyone, welcome back to Rhythm Railroad. I have another update video. This is number 3 of my new HO layout here in my new space. So I made a lot of progress, and again I want to make sure that I share it before I get too far ahead of myself and then it becomes a very long video. So I'll walk you through and I'll show you what I've added since the last video. I did set up my drum set finally, so I was able to play it today for a little while, so that's nice. But besides that, what I added was nothing here. This is all the same. The gate I didn't touch yet. I am going to add some things, but it's all status quo. I'm working on getting just a leg here, but I'll probably put it more inward, like in the center. It's such a short amount of space anyway that I don't think it needs to be all the way at the edge. So I think even if I put it in the center, it'll still hold it up just as well. And the reason I don't want it there is because I know somebody's going to kick it as they're walking through here because of this pole. They're going to get real close and somebody's going to kick it and then it's going to mess things up here. And this is a very weak wall, so I want to make sure that the support's coming from the floor rather than from the wall. So working on that. I did add a brace here though, which is definitely adding to the stiffness because there is a 2x4 here, unlike nothing else that's set up for that pocket door. So that brace is new. Nothing much here. This is all, what I was working on before. What is new is this section here. This is going to be my second gate, my second swing gate. And, here's how I design things. I do them, and as I go, I start tweaking and I start figuring things out. I'm not like the kind of person that will sit on a computer and map everything out and measurements and stuff like that. I'd rather just work on it as I go and figure things out more like on the spot. That's just me, but I don't think I can transfer all that information from like a plan necessarily to real life. I feel like every time I do that, I always end up changing it anyway, so I don't waste my time. So originally, the plan was to go very far, as close as possible to that door, and then come across and make the swing gate open, pretty much this way at 90 degrees with the edge there, with the corner there, with the angle, I should say there. But then I thought, you know what, here's the thing. If I'm going to be going back there just to like flip a switch, for the circuit breakers, or I have my sprinkler system in there, I might have to go in there and mess around with it or whatever. I don't want to have to open the gate. Like if I can just leave it and just, it's a quick thing, I'll just duck under. So what I did is I left myself just enough room for a person to fit here so that it can be comfortable. It doesn't have to, I'm not wasting that much time, but that much space by building it all the way out. So, the real reason why I did that was because the piece of wood that I bought was 8 feet, and that's where it ended. So I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna end it there. Screw it. I'll just put a 1x4 across, make that the box, and then from there, I'll make the gate. Now here's the mistake I made. I wanted this thing to open this way so that it would swing out and, back against this. And I knew I had to have an angle, which I do. I do have an angle. Because if you don't have an angle, then the wood rubs as it's trying to open because, it's just the way it works. So what I realized after I built the box is that angle is not sharp enough. It has to be a much sharper angle. So this would have to been like over here, like more like that, for it to actually detach without any kind of rubbing from the wood. So I said, by the time I figured that out, I had already put in the support post for the hinges the same way I did with the other gate, because it was going to be the same way, and it didn't work. But so what did I do? I did it my way. I said, well, that's there already. I'm just going to leave it. I made it nice and stiff, just like I did with the other one. and it's attached to the stud on the wall. So what I did is I said, you know what, I'm just going to open it the other way because that angle is much steeper. So now this is not built, attached yet. So now it's going to open this way, and right away you see how it attaches as soon as I start swinging it. So that's not going to be a problem. So that's how that's going to go, and then obviously it's going to open this way, and it'll end up, on this side. I'm sorry, I can't film this and hold it at the same time. But basically, this is built kind of the same way as the other gate. It's going to sit on those cleats, and I'll make it so that, once it actually is completed, that it almost like sandwiches the gate in. So it'll have like a cleat or something here. So as it's coming in, it'll push it both up and down to center it as best as possible. And I'm going to add that to the other gate as well. I do want some cleats on the connecting side, so when it closes, it aligns itself better than it's already aligned. But the same thing with this one. I was very careful with making sure that everything was level and perfectly flat, so that there's very little room for error. When you have the tracks and line them up and all that stuff. But like I said, once you put the latches in and the hinges and everything, I think it'll align everything even better. One thing that I love about having tile and concrete under it is that the floor is not going anywhere. The walls might move a little bit, but it's a lot better. When I was upstairs, everything was moving on me. I mean, the walls, the ceiling, everything. I mean, every time I would center something, and it would get like cold or hot, I'd be dealing with a whole another layout. And I was still able to do it well, but it was a pain in the butt. So a few things missing here, obviously, besides the hinges and the obvious stuff. I still have to put another crossbeam here. I was thinking of doing a slight drop in the box, and I know it's going to be harder for me to duck under, but I don't care. Because I want to make it like a bridge scene here with like a creek or some kind of river going through here. It's a perfect opportunity right here in this little corner for the trains to be going over water. So I might do that. And the way I'm going to do that is I would probably I don't know if I'm just going to take like a piece, like an entire piece of plywood and then cut out that so that it's just real stiff. Or if I'm going to just add, by just putting, wood down and then making like a frame kind of thing, and then making like a flat piece of plywood on the bottom to act as like the riverbed. I don't know, I'll figure it out. So that's missing, which means that, this is going to be, I'm probably going to have to eliminate this, and this will be what frames it out, and I'll figure it out as I go with that. So that's missing. I'm also missing the brace that goes this way. I was hoping to make it a little smaller on this one, maybe like a little steeper, because I don't want it to, jet out that far into the storage space back there. But I guess it doesn't really make a difference. Either way, it's going to be in the way. So this is obviously new, this whole section here. I went with the standard 2-footer. Right now, I could always come out if I want to. If I want to make it wider, but I went 3 feet there, which is cool. I mean, I'm okay with that. I can still reach the back without any problems. And I wanted this area to be really big because I have room here. There's more space here than anywhere else. So I wanted to put a lot of industries and things there. But then I realized, I guess I'm learning as I go, but if I want to add more, it's easier to add more than it is to subtract. So I'd rather just stick with my 2-footer, and then I could always, if I want to bump it out or if I want to make some kind of, wider scene or whatever, that'll be easier to add on to than to have to cut everything and then shorten it, and then it's going to be all out of whack and all that. So I went 2 feet, and then when I got to the corner here, this was a little tricky because the wood ended here, so I had to kind of cleat it and just attach it this way, and then I went this way also with the 2 feet. And then, like I said in the previous videos, what I wanted to do here was, make it so that there's no real obstruction here when you're walking through. So if you're carrying something in or whatever, you're not going to be banging or trying to get around the layout. And once we get here, the way this is going to get the trains from here to there is basically the size. It's going to be like the size of the track, just a little wider. It's for clearance. So, so that it's really close to the wall. And what I'm even thinking of doing is putting a really, really thin piece of sheetrock in front of it, like making it a wall so the train just disappears completely, and painting it the same color as the wall so that it all kind of like disappears. Or I might use like hardboard or something where it's like, like an 1/8 inch hardboard. The only problem with that is that it gets a little wobbly. But I want it to look nice, I mean, the basement's still new, so I want it to look nice. And so what I might just do is make little portals and make it almost like a false wall there, but really close to the wall, to the real wall, and just have the trains go through. By the way, speaking of laser levels, that's the way to go. Holy cow, that totally changed my life. Because I was like, how am I going to align? I mean, I literally had to align from there all the way to this original starting point because I wanted it to be all level. This whole loop is going to be a short line basically, but it's also going to carry some of the main line that's going to be going upward toward the second level. But I was like, how am I going to do that? Well, I had purchased this laser level when I was doing the basement, and then as I was using it, I was like, wow, this would really come in handy when I'm ready to build some bench work. So check it out. I mean, this thing is like, I'm just trying to turn off the light so you can see it, but this thing is like pin straight. It's like great from here. And look how it projects all the way to the back there. I mean, you can see the laser right on top of the bench work. And look how straight that is. That helped me so much in getting everything aligned all the way through. And, it wasn't even that expensive. I think it was like 50 bucks, maybe even less. And it comes with this neat little stand where you can hook it up to to anything you want. It's all adjustable. So that was a huge, huge benefit to getting everything nice and level. So, and especially because the floor is so out of level. I mean, it was worse before. It's definitely better now, but we had a very low point here. So in relationship to the floor, I couldn't judge it by that. I'm at like 36 inches here, and over there, rather in the back here, I'm at like 34, 33. So, the floor is obviously a lot higher there. So yeah, the only thing left as far as this new area that I made here is all the bracing. I have to make sure that I brace that. And then just the transition from there to there, which is going to be similar. So you see how I built this and I made the edge here? It's going to start here and it's going to work its way to the bench work here. And I'm trying to figure out when to actually start coming in because, again, I don't want to block the entranceway here. But the more angled I make it, the less I'm able to, build here. Maybe I want to put a structure here or whatever, and I want to make sure that I have the room. But going back to my previous point, I could always add more. As long as the bench work is stiff and built well, I could always add more. So that's that. Now, going back to the track plan, there's supposed to be an island. There's supposed to be a peninsula that comes out this way. So from here, it's going to basically just tee off, and then it's going to get wider for the top, for the big turn around the peninsula. It's going to come back in on the other side, and then continue on its way that way. So obviously there's going to be a divider here, some kind of wall. I don't know if I'm going to go all the way to the staircase or just up to here, and then make that like almost like a mountain up to the second level. I don't know what I'm gonna do at that point. But the turn is gonna duck, it's gonna come into the room over here somewhere, and then it's gonna duck under the staircase. That's why I did it this way, because I can use that space over there. And I'm gonna make like some kind of tunnel or something so that it goes, you know, through the stairs or whatever. And then it's gonna go back, you know, it's gonna be in the room and it's gonna come toward the wall again. And then it's gonna make its way around and then through. So that's obviously gonna be the next step to build that. But at least once I get that done, I already know that this is level. And I already know that, oh, look at that. I just thought of something and I made a mistake. See? I'm glad I'm talking through this. I can't brace this because I'm going to have a staging yard that's going to start over there, basically, where the 2-foot area starts. So it's going to open up into like whatever 4 or 5 tracks. And then it's all going to be staging under here, about 10 inches under this benchwork. So I can get my hand in there. And then it's going to duck under at the same flat, you know, 10 inches under the peninsula. And this is where the return loop's going to be. And then the trains are going to be able to come back out again over there. So, I can't brace until I get that level figured out, because then from there I can brace it, you know, diagonally the way I did the rest of the benchwork. You know, like this here, right here. So I'll wait until I build the other one and then go down. But it doesn't affect this area. It only affects from here on. So, oops, I would have done it already. I actually took a break before and I was like, you know what? I'll do the bracing tonight or whatever. And I just realized I don't have to do that right now. So once I get the staging in, then I'm gonna tie it in by connecting it from, you know, from the side panels here and from the back. So from the wall and from here. So I'm basically just echoing what I have here already, staging. So there should be plenty of staging, I think, to get some. I mean, this layout is not tremendous. It's a nice space, but it's not. I'm not running like 50 car trains here. So anyways, that's that. Now, just so you know what's going on here, and I know I've explained it in other videos, but maybe this will be more easy to see now, easy to visualize, because the benchwork is kind of in place. Right after we cross the swing gate here, it's either going to be a double main that splits, or it's going to be a triple track that the double main goes up and the single main becomes a short line. So, you know, whatever that's going to be, it doesn't matter. The point is that it splits here, and then the track closer to the wall is going to start climbing within this benchwork, and the other track is going to stay flat. It's going to stay level. So, you know, as you can imagine it, you know, it's going to start creeping up slowly in the back, and in the front, there's going to be another track here that's going to be closer to this side with all the industries here. And then, you know, it's going to continue like that, parallel, you know, a few turns here and there. But then, once we get here, we're already going to be about, you know, I would say 2 inches maybe. Because I want to creep up. I don't want to like go crazy climbing like, you know, 3-4%. I wanted to make it like a 2% or even less. So by the time I get here, one train's going to be down here and the other one's going to be a little higher. Okay? So that's going to continue in parallel. The back is going to, you know, go toward the back. It's going to swing out. Front's going to go this way, and then the front is going to head in that direction, and it's going to go through the wall. Remember, there's going to be a dividing wall here, but still level, because the entire short line is going to be level. That's why I did this way. But then the other one's going to go over, because at this point I'll probably be at 4 inches, which is all I need for the other train to duck under. So I'll have a bridge here. The train will go through, and then I'm still going to be climbing with this new level here, you know, within the same benchwork. So I can make like hills and whatever I want to do here. You know, and I can still make spurs and whatever in this area, but it'll be at the new height. So, you know, climbing all the way through into the staircase, still climbing. I got to figure out where it's going to clear over there. Still climbing. within the same benchwork. It's still going to be the same level benchwork. So it's going to be cliffs and all kinds of things here. But then here's what happens. Once it gets here, we're going to be much higher. We're probably going to be, you know, around here somewhere in comparison to the benchwork that's there already. So the idea is that once it gets here and it makes contact with the wall again, now my new benchwork starts, the new level of benchwork. You know, hopefully it'll be a little higher than where my hand is, but my goal is to make it to like a little lower than the windowsill, because I realized that, you know, it's going to keep climbing. So while this stays flat, this is still going to start, you know, climbing all the way through. And by the time I get to over there is where I want it to be, you know, at the true height, which is going to be about, you know, a little bit over a foot. So around here somewhere. And then now we're looking at 2 levels. So when you look back here, you're going to see 2 levels of benchwork with the staging on the bottom. There's 3 levels. But on the other side, you're only going to see the 1 level until we make it around, because this thing's going to keep climbing. And then once we settle into a good height, I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. Go through, there'll be another gate here. And now you'll see the 2nd level of benchwork, but it'll be much higher with a nice amount of clearance here, because remember the other train was climbing here. So it'll be nice and high. It'll keep going. Now we're at 2 levels here, but much higher than that. And then once we make the turn here, which will be a lot closer to the pole and a little tighter on the radius, it'll be like a 30. Then we'll be at a very high level. We'll be like at eye level over here. So now we're going to see 3 decks. 1, 2, 3 will be in front of the window. And the reason I'm doing that, I don't know if this is actually going to work for me, but by the time I get to that corner over there, I want it to be right up against the ceiling so that the locomotives are almost rubbing the ceiling, because I want the turnaround loop to either be here or here. But I want it to be really high because I don't have a lot of ceiling height to begin with. And I want to make sure whatever I do, it doesn't get in the way, and I don't have to like duck under or whatever it is. So I want it to be just hugging the ceiling, so that it's almost as high as this thing or even higher, like around here somewhere, you know. And I might incorporate something so that I can hide it by just extending a wall all the way through, so this way it doesn't look, you know, like a mess up there. But that I'm going to suspend from the ceiling. That's not going to be on the wall, with the exception of, you know, whatever is touching the wall. But that's how I'm going to get the train to turn around and come back down the same way that you know, I had it. And I want to do it that way because I want it to be continuous running. So the reverse loop is in the staging, and the other one would be up here. Now, I had an idea of doing like alternate reversing loops within the peninsula, because that's the easiest place to do it. So once the train comes through the wall back there on the 2nd level and makes it into the peninsula here, the idea is that I can just go through the wall again and come back in. But now you're missing, you know, the whole run. Same thing with the bottom. As the train's coming through the peninsula this way, you know, from the bottom part, go under the stairs, but then I could always, instead of going this way again, I could just split it here and connect it back up again, you know, on the line. The other thing is that we're gonna have height differences there. So the lower level is a little trickier with that because of the elevation change. So I'd have to split somewhere where I have enough time to get the elevation back down again to connect. I mean, I guess if you're going downward and you know you're not going to go up on that, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's going to, as long as it's not ridiculous and the train's sliding down the hill, down the rails. But at least it's easier than trying to make it climb. So I don't know. That's for later. The layout's going to work no matter what. But I want to make sure that, you know, I can get the best, the most efficient layout within the space that I have available here. What I don't want, and this I've been trying to like keep telling myself this, what I don't want is to close myself in too much. You know, obviously, you know, layouts are going to be, there's going to be aisles and there's going to be tight places and whatever, but The one thing I hated about my last layout was that one side of the layout and the other side of the layout was literally a body, you know, the width was just for one person to walk through. And I don't want that. I didn't like that at all. Because then when you have two people, you're already like, it's like rush hour. So, you know, the island here, the peninsula is going to dip in. So there's going to be a nice open area here where you can see the train, you can talk to your friends, you can have 2-3 people in here and not be on top of each other. And the same thing on the other side. Obviously, this is going to be all open for my drums, but I can move those. But over here, I like that it's just open. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a little curve here. There's going to be a little more bench work here, but not to a point where it's closing in the room. And the same thing with the peninsula. When it comes in, it's just going to bubble out a little bit here and come back through the stairs. But you can still get through here or through here. You know, I wish this pole was in here, but I kind of need it so that my house doesn't fall down. So that's the idea. You know, I just want to be able to make sure that I can enjoy the layout rather than having the bench work like swallowing me, like just on top of me, like some layouts that I've seen, which, you know, it's fine if that's what you like. It's just that I get claustrophobic with that stuff. So that's that. I know it's a lot. It's more than I thought, but that's my third update with all this new stuff. For some reason, I feel like I'm going through wood like crazy. I feel like I get so much wood and it's gone within, like, you know, just one section was all the wood I got. Somehow I went right through it. So I guess I have to get more. All right, so that's gonna be it. I will see you on the next one. Thanks.